The Swami's page. Stella wants to invite a Swami to stay with us, Nick said in the small talk before the partners' meeting. He was second in charge at an IP firm, but in his 20s he'd played lead guitar in Primal Spleen, a very minor punk band. He could still draw on reservoirs of theatrical outrage. Want to know where she met him? Guess. Where does a woman meet a Swami nowadays? An ashram? Floating down the Ganges? She met the Swami on Facebook. I'm not kidding, he said. Swami G money. He's got like 6 ashrams. He flies back and forth, doling out the wisdom, collecting dough. As far as I can tell, the remainder of his time is spent on Facebook with my wife. He shook his head. I'm going to end up like Clark, he sighed, looking into the hall. Clark, the boss, was a popular source of office humor. At the most recent holiday party, his wife, a round, witchy woman who specialized in flower essences, complained that he had issues with the female divine. Non-attachment. For Stella, the concept started out clear enough. You didn't get attached to particular outcomes. Basically, chill out. An example, as president of her son's private school, Stella was heading up a capital drive to raise $400,000. This was the number they had set somewhat arbitrarily. But now the board felt that one penny under $400,000 would be total failure. In fact, there was talk about the importance of exceeding your goal by 10%. So their arbitrary $400,000 had morphed into an equally arbitrary, harder to achieve $440,000. Fine. But if you weren't attached to any particular outcome for the capital drive, could you be attached to how the capital drive was actually run? Could you, for instance, strongly advocate for your idea, a $500 a head party with a silent auction, over other ideas, nice enough in conception, but unlikely to get you into 6 figures, a bake sale? Seriously, a bake sale. Can you object to an idea without being attached to your objection carrying the day, which thank God it did? And sitting at those meetings with people advocating a $440,000 bake sale, you wonder if attachment isn't the prime mover in your life. Why drop the obscene cash on private school if you're not attached to your sons heading to the university of their choice? In fact, forget school. How could you be a mother without attachment? How could you be a wife? Stella posted her first question to Sri Swami Vivekananda after Nick's company holiday party. Nick had been advocating other sexual partners. She was opposed, and yet she had found herself at that party, half on purpose, with Nick's boss, Clark, in his executive bathroom, pressed against the convex white wall tiles. What does it mean to work on your marriage? Stella posted. Sri Swami Vivekananda replied, don't be married. A minute later, to any outcome. It was one of his stock phrases, given with stock timing, but she hugged herself, grateful he didn't argue for half measures. Never, it's a trying situation. Never, all relationships go through difficult times. He did not console. Stop reacting, he would post, or the time is now. Or his favorite, how can you caress life with a clenched fist? Open your hand, Stella thought. Open your goddamn hand. Stella had become brisk and boyish in her movements and dress and red lipstick, as she'd recently read in a silly magazine, made women under 40 look slutty and women over 40 look sophisticated. In either case, it was feminizing. She picked through the lipsticks. Was searching for red a type of attachment? Should she accept the orange, the brown? Was the universe suggesting that brown, a look that plunged from fashion, was now's right color? She found a red lip pencil. Great relief, though the garish packaging dated it to the 80s, back when she was sneaking into clubs to see Primal Spleen. She tried the lipstick, pulling brisk lines across her lips, a skill she hadn't quite forgotten. Then she blinked in the mirror, trying to look at herself in a non-attached way. Her bright mouth was a surprise. She looked neither slutty nor sophisticated. The question was whether she looked clownish, whether the red merely served to accentuate a hole. She wiped the lipstick off with a rough hand. Her again. But wanting to look the same as always was also attachment. The labyrinth could drive you mad. Nick arrived grumpy and musky. He pulled his head back at the sight of her bright red lips. This was their life. He took his phone into the bedroom. Business. He was basically begging her to challenge him. He wanted an excuse to shout about how hard he worked, an excuse not to go to bed with her. She sat down and sipped her wine, waiting. She would sit peaceably, non-attached, as long as it took. He came into the kitchen, shaking his head. He put his phone next to his plate and sat down. He sniffed the food, poured himself a measure of the wine. "This looks beautiful," he said. In the bedroom, they went through the baffled fumbling they'd exchanged for lovemaking. She was too muscular, too hard. He told her this before. Sometimes there was an edge to the words, sometimes a note of apology. Tonight, he didn't even need to say them. In the bright bathroom light, her lipstick was mostly intact. They hadn't kissed much. She picked up the pencil. Then it clattered into the sink. She'd opened her hand. Behind security, far down the hallway of SFO, Stella caught sight of Sri Swami Vibhutananda's orange robes and tremendous white fakir's beard. She'd met many teachers. On average, they were complicated people. But she couldn't help thrilling to his confident lope down the moving walkway. He firmly elbowed an older woman, in the wrong. She was standing on the left, out of his way, as if she was old energy, or a problem everyone was too polite to mention. "I've just been told the Facebook headquarters are in this region." "Probably," she said, bowing to him. "I don't know where." In addition to his robes, he wore a pair of questionably white tennis shoes and an even whiter digital watch, the kind that estimates the tides. She thought of his mantra, "The time is now."